So as I was saying, it's good to get a taste of real life politics because in high school we're in our own protected bubble. We have our own sort of system and stuff, and it's not what the real world is like.
Okay.
This is what a taste of the real politics is like in the real world.
Okay.
And politics in high school are extremely empty. They're vacuous and
Okay.
they don't mean much at all. The students that run the student government, they don't necessarily know what they're talking about, and they also don't actually do anything significant. They don't do anything that means anything. And I think that some kids that want to pursue government later in their lives need to have this taste of real life politics to know what it's all about before committing to something like that.
This is hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard work. It's not, politics isn't easy like in school, where you can get if you get your friends to spread the word, then they'll vote for you. Here, you have to make sure that you appeal to your voters and that you get people like me and Kristine, for example, that become passionate enough to become precinct walkers for you and spread the word door to door.
So you have to be able to motivate or influence the volunteers, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, all right. Okay, what about you, Kristine? What else? Okay, other than the most difficult things that I just asked you, right? What else do you think of this precinct walk?
I think it's a really good opportunity to kind of understand like the real world. Like from our experience today, there were some people who, like, once we told them that Mr. Hadley was Republican, they like wouldn't vote for him or like wouldn't even accept the flyers. So like basically just like out there are people who are, you know, like people are different. They have their stances, and you just kind of have to accept it. And it also helps like kind of develop your skills in persuading others and kind of identifying the points that will appeal to the most, like how Mr. Hadley is like the only candidate who will support Prop 13, things like that. Those kind of techniques will really help you like gain their vote or gain their interest.
So how do you tell, right? Obviously, you're trying to choose different message to different voters, right? But how do you tell in the beginning that what type of voters they are likely are?
Well, on the sheet it actually tells us like their party.
Okay.
So like if they're Democratic, then we would first start off with like telling them Mr. Hadley's policies.
Okay.
So that would like kind of make them more interested, and then maybe even though he's Republican, like not the same party, they would still consider him.
Okay.
But if they were like stated as Republican, then you know just like tell them straight ahead that he is a Republican, so they have like more in common already.
Okay. That's smart. Okay. All right.
You just got to choose your points of emphasis. Like,
okay.
After about an hour into it, we started emphasizing about how like Kristine said, that Mr. Hadley supports Prop 13 and what Prop 13 means to these voters, because some of them, they don't know what Prop 13 means.
Okay.
And by emphasizing points such as this, that Mr. Hadley wants to prevent the property tax from increasing, voters become more interested. A lot of people like that idea. I mean, who wouldn't? But it just got them interested, got them to listen more, and they also agreed some other of our points. And I feel like a victory for Mr. Hadley would be a victory for all the residents of the 66th district.
So let's say, okay, with this experience, how would you, if you were to run in your high school again, right? How would that change, how you would run for the office at the high school? How would this change at all?
I guess it would be more effective in a way to like identify your strong points and what makes you unique from others and spread that. But as David said previously, it's very different in high school. Like people don't necessarily care much about that.
Okay.
They care more about like who's popular or who's yeah, like that kind of stuff. So obviously it would be helpful to like tell people like your unique characteristics and
But they're not all like that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
there are people.
There's a small portion
who do follow politics and do mind. But I feel like if I were to run for student office again, I wouldn't necessarily change my tactics too drastically. Like maybe in my presentation and stuff, what I learned here today and from all other experiences with real life politics, I would change on how I presented my positions and stuff. But not too drastic change, because like I said before, high school politics isn't anything like real politics, and it doesn't, because it's so empty and it's so disjointed, it's so disconnected from actual politics. It's not. What I learned here today will help me later in life, but it won't necessarily help me win high school.
That's fair. That's fair. So, what do you want to say to Mr. Hadley, or Republican Party even? Obviously, a Republican Party is a super minority, right? For a reason, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you have you thought about along that line? What they can do to improve?
What the Republican Party
Yeah,
can do?
yeah, or the candidates, from what you've learned with this precinct walk, right? Because you are definitely at the ground, right? You hear what the voters are saying.
I think that most people who, even me, I'm not really into politics yet. I think most people identify Democratic as free, and Republican as the opposite.
Okay.
So, I think last time I came here, Mr. Hadley and the current Republican
Minority leader.
Yeah,
Connie,
right?
They
came and talked to us, and I think that was actually really helpful for me because I kind of understood more in depth of what the Republican Party actually supports and what they actually do to help society. And I think.
But shouldn't you do that from the Democratic Party as well? Because you have to see or hear from what their mouths, right? I mean, would that make a difference? Or shouldn't you do that too, just to get a balanced view?
Yeah, I think that's important too. But
okay.
I don't know. I just feel most, for me personally, I just didn't really know exactly.
No, that's fine. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would like Republicans to know. Well, I know California has traditionally been pretty blue state.
Okay.
But where I live, my school in particular, everyone's family is Republican.
Okay.
Hard red, and I'm actually slightly liberal, moderate liberal.
Okay.
And I'm here because I want to be, and I support what Mr. Hadley is standing for. I support what he's standing for, and.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think you said it.
Even though I'm slightly liberal, I support Mr. Hadley and what he stands for and his ideas, and hopefully there's more people out there that are willing to listen like me.
How do you define liberal? Let's say, okay, you're a little bit liberal. Can you quantify that? What do you mean by you're a little bit liberal?
I generally lean more towards the Democrat side.
Okay.
In most issues, but it's just a little slight lean.
Which is okay. No, that's perfectly fine, right? So you have to have your own judgment, right? So okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.